During workforce energy management programs, either during the program, after the program, or even post program, they'll shoot me an email of their story. And I'm going to take some of the most relatable type of stories, removing some of the identifiers, and tell them to you, read them off to you, and let's work through it together, because if it hasn't come up for you, it may come up in the future, and maybe it already has come up and you can reroute it in a little bit different way. So here's the email I want to read today. Kelly, I did everything I was supposed to. Promotions, the long hours, the bonuses. Now I'm sitting in the big office leading a huge team and I hate it. Disconnected, somehow holding all the pressure. First one to act on things, but also the first one to blame. I'm exhausted, cynical, and honestly feel trapped. How do you walk away from something that no longer fits? Oof. Do you feel that? Yeah. That blow past the sweet spot. And that is a hard lesson learned, right? Because you probably have worked very hard to get there. And now you have to walk away. And it's interesting because I think sometimes you think you can push through or you can change a few things. And it kind of depends on how far you are into this burnout journey. Burnout has 12 phases. So number 12 is the burnout collapse, physically or mentally. So if you're at like a 11 or 12, I would say you got to walk away. You need to make an immediate decision. If you're in the lower levels of just proving oneself, maybe you're taking on excess load, just trying to get some sense of control. Maybe just some behaviors in you are changing that others are recognizing. There's time, right? There's time to reroute what your team load is, having conversations with your boss on what your role looks like. Possibly, if you're in a toxic environment, even moving to a different company, but same leadership type of position. There's some options there. Now, everyone's situation is different, but really what we're talking about at the root cause is called success disillusionment. And it's the moment that high performers or you've been working towards something so much, so hard, and you get that achievement and you don't feel fulfilled. Right? You had so much energy on the journey towards this and always what's next, and I hit the goal and let's go to the next goal, and you get there and you just don't feel it anymore. And I certainly can relate to this story that was emailed in because I also climbed the ladder and people naturally followed me. So I escalated very fast by age 28. I was an executive in human resources across 3 plants. I was also traveling nationally to other plants for their leadership training and developing those emerging leaders, middle management. And so I had a lot on my plate. And at the time, you're just so busy, you don't recognize it. But there would be days that would go on where I didn't do an energetic activity. I haven't been out on the plant floor to see the people that I serve, that I'm the voice of, and that was my energizer. I was so lost in corporate reports and corporate meetings that I was just like dreading going in every day, where I'm like, I think that I would have been super happy like 3 positions ago. Like that was my energy zone. I was very good at what I did. I went home and still had energy. I was excited, had ideas, creative, but right, I just kept going. I just kept going because that's what people tell you to do. That's where the bonuses are. That's where the money is. And if you have money, you're successful, as society says it. And I got to a point where I just didn't feel fulfilled. Every day seemed like it was the same, and my energy would just drain and drain and drain. And during my burnout recovery, I had to recognize that this was success disillusionment. And it wasn't a failure, it was kind of an awakening that I blew past my sweet spot and misaligned my energy. And so what we have to do in these type of situations is redefine success. How high do you want to go? How much do you want to give that you aren't going to receive back, right? There's people that will work the big jobs, the long hours, but they're receiving a big amount of income back, and that makes them happy. This specific email, it sounds like it is no longer a fit. So what you have to kind of back up and evaluate is what values do align with your energy, and do some of that value inventory. And because we're ever evolving creatures and life and experience changes us, what are your values now in today's world? Not 5 years ago, today, if I would say, I want you to write, if I would be energy mapping with you, right? We're going to realign a path. What are 5 values to your core that energize you? That regardless of the circumstances, you could continue to do it because it's aligned with your energy, your values, your core values. I want you to come up with that inventory for today, for you today. And from there, you're going to see if that position is still aligned with where you want to go. If there's area for modification and revision of the roles and responsibilities that can get you back on that value driven type of behavior, that energetic path. If not even one of those values comes up in your current position, yes, you have to make some changes. And it may mean switching organizations, switching employers, or it may mean just taking a different role within your employer and being okay with that. And being okay with even communicating that you want to just realign your energy, your path, your values, and so you're going to take this role. Because sometimes people think that when someone steps out of a very high role into a role that doesn't have as much leadership responsibilities, whether that's product, process, or people, that they're checking out, that they're disengaging. And sometimes it's just a realignment with where you want to go. Maybe it's a realignment with what's going on at home, those busy seasons of life that, I want to make sure my majority of energy is at home and not here. So I'm going to step back for a couple of years. Totally do it. It's becoming more common that people align their energy and their values to the actual work that they do. And then say if you want to get out of a career completely, I want you to pilot it out. Maybe take a side project, maybe volunteer with a different organization or a different role. Because sometimes I think when we're in burnout, we make really abrupt decisions, really impulsive decisions because we just want it to stop. We just want this misalignment to stop, the energy drains to stop, and we just want to wake up and enjoy our day, right? Do you feel that sometimes? I want you to pilot a small pivot point. See if that even aligns with your values and where you want to go. See, sometimes we think the grass is always greener on the other side, and people make a massive jump, a massive career change, and then they don't like that either. So let's take some time, redefine success, conduct a values inventory, and then pilot out small little pivots on this path to see, does this feel better? Does this feel more aligned to where I want to go? And it is okay if you get to a point in your career and you feel that it doesn't fit to do this. Because I think the people that are miserable when they get into retirement and they look back, they don't feel fulfilled. They don't feel like they spent a majority of their days in a place that energized them. Whether that's the position, the team, the organization. What they do is they get to retirement and they look back and they see regret. They see the things that they didn't get to do, or that they waited too long and thought they were too old or too far in their career to try out. I have some employees that made career pivots very late in their career, like 50s, 55, 60s, and they were so full of energy and full of life as they stepped in these professions because they knew that that pivot was more aligned to where they want to go from what they were previously doing. It's never too late to make a pivot. Just make sure it's aligned with the core values and energy path that you want to go. You're not lazy. You're not a failure. It's just success disillusionment. Realign and reclaim the energy.